Veterans, transitioning service members, military members, thank you for your service to our country. Today, we're going to be talking about how do I get my back pay? Nothing more frustrating than you win your claim and you don't feel like you get the money that you've been fighting for a long time. And you're wondering, did I get all the money that I deserve? So we're going to be talking about that, how to get it, what you need to do, and the steps to take. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell, share this out with someone that can use this information. And as always, thank you for your service to our country. So if you have a service-connected disability, receiving the correct VA rating is vital for ensuring you get the VA disability compensation and benefits that you rightfully deserve. However, if your condition worsens over time, right, you may be eligible for a VA disability rating increase and potentially VA disability back pay. The back pay can provide significant retroactive benefits for the time you waited to receive the increased VA rating. So let's find out and go right here and see how much you're owed. Okay. So today, you may receive VA back pay for a disability increase or for a claim if your condition worsens. And then let's say you file for an increase within 1 year of the change or from the date that you submitted your original request. Once the VA approves the disability rating increase, back pay is typically issued in a single payment or a lump sum. The effective date for back pay will depend on what type of claim you have, right? Direct service connection. So what is VA back pay? Let's start there. VA back pay is a retroactive payment you may receive if your VA benefits rating increases. If the VA determines that a veteran's service-connected condition has worsened, they may assign a higher VA disability rating to reflect the increased severity. Back pay is then calculated from the effective date of the increase, which is typically the date when the disability worsened or the date you filed the disability claim for an increase, whichever is earlier. For example, if your symptoms worsened in March 2022 and you filed for an increase in February 2023, your effective date would be March 2022. Since the claim was filed within 1 year of the worsening, if the claim were filed after March 2023, the effective date would be February 2023. Once the VA approves a disability rating increase, back pay is typically issued in a single payment or lump sum. Okay. So it's very, very important. How do I get back pay for VA disability increase? Yes, if your symptoms worsen and you're awarded a higher VA disability rating, the VA may issue back pay for the difference between your previous and updated ratings. For example, suppose you submitted evidence of worsening on June 1st, but only received the increased VA disability rating decision on December 1st. In that case, you'd be eligible for retroactive back pay or benefits for those months between June 1st and December 1st. Very important to know that. The effective date for VA disability back pay. For VA disability claims, the effective date is crucial because it determines how far back the VA will calculate retroactive payments. The effective date is the day you can start getting your disability benefits. The type of claim will determine the effective date. Direct service connection. What is it? The effective date for disability that was caused or made worse by military service is whichever of these comes later. The date the VA gets your claim or the date you first got your illness or injury, also known as the date your entitlement arose. If you file your claim within a year of leaving active service, the effective date can be the day after separation, okay? Secondary service connection. The effective date for a secondary service connection claim is generally the date the VA received your claim for the secondary condition or the date entitlement arose, whichever is later. It's very important to know that for secondary claims. Don't assume you're going to get it back paid a year ago. It's going to be the day that the VA received your claim for the secondary condition or the date entitlement arose, whichever is later. The VA is not trying to give you any more than they need to give you. Presumptive service connection. Generally, if the VA believes your presumptive disability is related to your military service and they get your claim within 1 year of your separation from active service, the effective date is the date you first got your illness or injury. However, if the VA receives your claim more than 1 year after your separation from active service, the effective date is the date they got your claim or when you first got your illness or injury, whatever is later. Let's talk about reopened claims. The effective date for a reopened claim is the date the VA receives the claim to reopen or the date you first got your illness or injury, whatever is later. right? In some cases, the VA may assign a stage rating if your symptoms change over time. This means the VA provides different ratings for different time periods, allowing them to compensate you accurately for each period. For example, if your symptoms worsen for 6 months before stabilizing, the VA might assign a higher rating for those 6 months than a lower one for the following time. Who qualifies for VA disability back pay, right? VA disability back pay is available to veterans who have a delay between their claim's effective date and the date they received an approval decision for VA disability benefits. You may be eligible for back pay if you requested a higher disability rating due to worsening symptoms and it was granted. Your initial VA disability claim was approved. You appealed a denied claim and the VA awarded benefits with back pay, or a previous VA decision was corrected due to a clear and unmistakable error. The VA back pay timeline, the VA calculates back pay based on the difference in monthly compensation between the previous rating and the new one. This payment is typically one lump sum and can be significant if the effective date is many months or years before the final decision. In some cases, veterans may receive an effective date earlier than the date they filed for. For example, if medical evidence showed that your condition worsened before your filing date, the VA might use that earlier date as the start of your increased rating, right? Filing a supplemental claim, right? So if you have new and relevant evidence for a higher VA disability rating, if you disagree with your current disability rating, say they rated you at 30% for PTSD and your PTSD or your condition warrants a higher rating, you can file a supplemental claim. You must submit new and additional relevant evidence supporting a higher disability rating, which could lead to increased benefits in VA disability back pay. Remember, it's new and relevant evidence, not in the previous claim that you got the 30% PTSD that I'm using as an example in explaining this. But example is if a disabled veteran experiences worsening symptoms of that 30% PTSD, or whatever service-connected condition that you filed for and you feel it's not right, you can higher level review it if there are mistakes, or you can file a supplemental claim with new and relevant evidence with updated medical documentation and continue to get the treatment that you need. If the VA approves the claim, they will calculate back pay based on the effective date, bearing that you file within the year and you supplemental it and appeal it in the correct time within a year of the decision date, potentially providing retroactive pay for the difference between the old and new ratings. Important to know that. When do you receive the VA back pay? Once your VA disability claim is approved, it typically takes a few weeks to receive back pay, which is issued as a lump sum, unlike standard disability payments that are issued on the first of every month or monthly. If you believe your effective date should be earlier, or your rating should be higher, filing a supplemental claim or seeking a higher level review can change your back pay monthly payments, right? Here are super duper tips, expert tips for seeking that VA disability back pay, right? File promptly. When symptoms worsen, file as soon as possible, which allows the VA to assign an effective date closer to the time of the worsening. Provide medical evidence. Don't stop getting treatment. Submit all relevant medical records showing the progression of symptoms. Veterans with well-documented cases typically see better outcomes with their back pay calculations. Consider a higher level review if needed. If you believe the VA has made an error, a Q error, clear and unmistakable, or there is a duty to assist error, they did not identify or utilize all the medical evidence that you provided with your claim, or if there's an error with your effective date or back pay amount, requesting a higher level review may resolve the issue and provide a fair back pay calculation. Request a stage rating when applicable. For veterans whose symptoms change over time, requesting a stage rating may result in more accurate and higher back pay amounts. Understanding the VA disability rating criteria, get experience with the M21-1 manual, get experience with the 38 Code of Federal Regulations. Reviewing the VA's disability rating criteria can help you understand how your symptoms align with higher ratings and whether you may qualify for an increase or not. If you have fluctuating symptoms, document these changes, get a medical doctor, get your primary care doctor to document these changes, get the VA to document these changes carefully, and include any relevant medical evidence with your VA claim, right? So I want to answer a few questions. Will you need a C&P exam when I claim a VA disability increase? Most likely. It just depends on the rater. It depends on the evidence that you provide. It depends on the treatment. The VA typically, though, requires a CMP exam to confirm the current severity of your condition and determine if an increase is warranted or not. The CMP exam results can influence both the new rating and the effective date. Remember, go to the compensation and pension exam with all the evidence in hand. Don't assume that the rater gave the CMP examiner all the proper evidence, and don't minimize. Don't lie, but don't minimize. Be honest, be upfront, and let them know at your worst how your symptoms are impacting your quality of life occupationally and socially. Veterans, how do you know if your VA disability increase qualifies for VA back pay? If your disability rating is increased based on a worsening condition and you can prove when the symptoms intensified, you may be eligible for back pay, but you got to be able to prove when those symptoms of whatever that condition is worsened. And most of the time you need to do that within a year of filing, and you don't need to stop. If you get denied, you need to figure out why. You need to get the proper help. You need to get educated. You need to watch videos like this so that you can have all the evidence that you need when submitting and when filing for your claim, right? How long does it take to receive VA back pay? It all depends. It all varies. There's no set day. But once your increase is approved, the VA usually issues back pay within a few weeks to a few months. They've got to do accounting and make sure that they don't overpay you. Processing times vary based on the complexity of your case and the VA's current workload. You can always call the helpline 1-800-827-1000. Let me tell you this, they're not always helpful. You can also reach out to the Vera hotline as well to see the status of your back pay. Can back pay be awarded for conditions that worsen over time? Yes, the VA can award back pay for progressive conditions if you can show medical evidence documenting the increase in severity and you file it properly. You need to show when it worsened. You got to prove that. How does the VA determine the effective date for back pay? The VA will typically use the date when your symptoms worsened as the effective date if you file within a year of that change. Otherwise, the effective date may revert to your claim submission date. Can you receive VA back pay for multiple claims? Yes, you can receive back pay for multiple claims. For instance, if you applied for both depression and a back injury and the VA grants ratings for both, you'd receive back pay for each condition based on the effective dates and the overall rating. Okay. So I hope that this video helps you. This is how do you get your back pay? When do you qualify for your back pay? And how do you continue to fight without quitting so that you get the best possible effective date for back pay so that you get the money and everything that you deserve. Okay. So don't stop fighting, stay in the fight, continue to get treatment, continue to get your symptoms documented, make sure that you have all your evidence, know the evidence, know what's in your claim. No one knows your claim. No one is a better advocate than you, veterans. So stay in the fight, stay in the know. Thank you for tuning in. Like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, share this out with a fellow veteran or military member or transitioning service member to get the benefits that they deserve. Thank you for your service to our country, and thank you for tuning in.